Congressman and ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Jim Himes, to join us now. Congressman, thanks for being with us. I know you sit on the opposite side of the aisle of everyone who is involved in this story. So as you read it today and as you go to look into it tomorrow, what are your thoughts?
Well, Will, let's start on a point where we agree, which is that this is a serious mistake. You agree with that. The problem with mistakes when bombs are flying and pilots are piloting F-18s and F-35s over dangerous territory is that a mistake gets people killed. I think we can agree on that. Now, call me old-fashioned, but when I was a kid growing up, when you made a mistake, the first thing you did was you said sorry. The second thing you did is you did the work to make sure that it never happens again. In the old America, where we did those sorts of things and stood up for the people that you just did a segment on Medal of Honor winners, you know what you don't do? You don't come out and trash Jeffrey Goldberg, without whose work we would not even know about this mistake that Congress should be doing a little bit of oversight on.
Stop right there if you wouldn't mind, please. Let's have a back and forth. We agree it's a mistake. On that, we agree. You inserted the word serious. And that is the weight of this debate. That is the weight of this argument. For the first time in 2 months, Democrats get to be on the front foot. I'm sure you're excited. You get to attack in a unified way against a mistake made by Republicans. So what you're doing is you're ramping up the hyperbolic response to this by calling it a serious mistake. You even now just invoked that men could get killed. There's nothing in this that suggests that to be true. What you just said, there's nothing. There is zero evidence to say that could be true. The information that was shared that you're pointing at was at 11:44. We know that an attack took place within minutes of that. Minutes. And so he was getting, inappropriately, real-time updates. I agree with you. Inappropriate mistake that needs to be rectified, and Trump and Waltz also thought so and just said so. But that was not a serious mistake putting American lives into jeopardy, and I think that your side is doing this to score political points, the first political points they've been able to accomplish in 2 months.
Well, what we're talking about here, and I've spent a decade now watching how our intelligence community communicates with the warfighter. So I am not going to listen to you tell me that this is about a partisan advantage. It is a mistake, and yes, it's a very serious mistake. Because if you make a mistake in Social Security and grandma doesn't get a phone call through, that's bad. But there is not zero risk that our young men and women in uniform, the ones who flew those F-35s and F-18s,
Congressman, how was an American life put into jeopardy?
We will find out.
Congressman, how?
Because
fine, you've made a claim. Tell me how an American life was put into jeopardy.
Because in an insecure channel, in what was acknowledged as a mistake before, whether it was a day or 2 hours or 5 hours, in a signal chat that we know. Do you want an answer to your question? In a signal chat that we know that the Russians could intercept, they might have told the Houthis in an hour. And in half an hour, they're moving their anti-aircraft stuff around. It is by the grace of God that we don't have dead pilots or sunken ships right now. And I will tell you, whether it's a big mistake or a small mistake, to then go and attack Jeffrey Goldberg, without whom we wouldn't even know about this mistake, it's got to make
including Jeffrey Goldberg was the mistake. Including Jeffrey Goldberg was the mistake.
And get any military officer on your show right now, Will. Get any military officer serving right now, any intelligence officer, and they will tell you that Jeffrey Goldberg was the cherry on top of using an insecure channel in advance to discuss military plans.
I'm not going to argue, Congressman. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue that no mistake was made. And I'm not going to argue that Signal is the perfectly appropriate app to have this conversation. What I am going to argue with you is that you are hyperbolically taking this over the top, yes, absolutely, for partisan points, in order to score in the first time in 2 months. Don't do it on Signal. I agree. Don't do it on Signal.
Well,
but nobody's live.
You know what? Here's the
CIA
thing.
director.
You are the one who is making this into a partisan issue. And we are talking about the lives of our young men and women. And it makes me want to throw up to hear you turn this into a partisan issue when we are talking about the lives of our airmen and Marines and sailors. You just need to stop this. You cannot run a segment cheering Medal of Honor winners, many of whom win posthumously, and tell me that this mistake is about partisan advantage.
It is. And I can run that segment, and I'm doing it with you right now, and I'll tell you something else. This isn't an administration that watched as 13 Marines died or spilled secrets to the Chinese Communist Party or did any of the other things that we just watched. It's hard to take you seriously, or that Jeffrey Goldberg is the hero in this story, when what you're positing is a hypothetical, and a hypothetical that will be rectified. But I appreciate you debating me.
Thank God it's a hypothetical. By the way, this is the administration that fired the people that look after our nuclear weapons. Thank God we don't have a loose nuke. So do not tell me that these mistakes are either driven by partisan motivation or that they're not serious, because we are talking about the most serious things that we do in this government, which is keeping our soldiers, sailors, and airmen safe.
It's really hard to take that point seriously after watching the way you guys handled Afghanistan. But I will say this to you. I will say this to you. I do appreciate the debate, even if it's heated, and I appreciate someone giving me a pushback on, yes, what is my opinion of this story. So you are welcome here, Congressman Himes, even if it can be heated. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.